Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Adobe Live. My name is Paco, and I'm here with my good friend Colton Cooker. Colton, how we
Hey
doing?
everybody. Good. How's everyone doing out there?
Yeah, I see some friends in the chat. We got Keys, we got Voodoo Val, we got Oliver, we got James. Once again, we are live friends, so go ahead and pop in that chat and say what's up. Tell us where you're from. What do you want to learn from today? Speaking of what we're learning, so today I have Colton Cooker, and he's going to be showing us how to do some sweet motion graphics for clients.
Yeah. Uh we're gonna do a lot of After Effects today, a lot of motion design, and I think the takeaway hopefully will be you don't have to be like a crazy After Effects expert to make really cool stuff. You can know just enough to be dangerous. Last time I
Just enough to be dangerous. I love
yeah,
that. It's a great way to put it.
the last time Paco and I live streamed, we were kind of talking about how, when the options are unlimited. How do you make creative decisions? And we're going to kind of keep going down that rabbit hole, but just kind of show how things can be simple and advanced at the same time.
Yeah, I agree. I think sometimes clients are like, we trust you. Do whatever you want. And that's great and all, but sometimes you just need some direction because, like, unlimited possibilities is great, but then it's also unlimited. It's like, how do we hone this down? So, yeah, let's kind of jump right into it. So, I'm going to flip over to your screen and then let us
Yeah.
know what we have in store for the day. This is actually a sneak peek. It's pretty cool. Maybe we could let everybody know what's going on here.
Yeah. Well, what's kind of fun about this live stream is we're working on a real project from last week that the two of us worked on together. This is for a potential upcoming Adobe Live segment, name unnamed for now. We'll just call it the new show.
The new show.
And
Yeah, so this looks so it's a graphics package. So Colt and I have been working this together, and we have some new content coming out here on Adobe Live. A little sneak
yep,
peek of what's to come. But obviously, we're Adobe Live. We like things to look pretty, so I requested a graphics package from Colton and his company Avey. So this is what we're working on. You'll kind of see an early sneak peek at some of the graphics that we're going to be working at. But I already got a sneak peek last week, and I think this looks freaking awesome. So I'm very excited
yeah,
about this.
yeah. So, my company, Avey Creative, is me and my sister McKenna, and kind of how it usually works is she does the graphic design and I do the animation, and we both help each other out on both fronts. But for today, we were designing a new graphics package for this Adobe Live show coming up, and she came up with this new concept, which is, we wanted to stick with the Adobe Live brand, but try to get a new vibe going. So this time we went with like a dark background and really bright, glowy neon kind of colors. And then after she designed it in Illustrator, I brought it into After Effects. And I've actually already animated this particular show intro. And then let's take a look at that. And then today we are going to create lower thirds, a transition, and a background.
Nice. I like it. All right, so let's make that composition window nice and big so we can kind of see this action. And then, yeah, let's see what we got going.
So it's just a couple
Dang.
seconds. Um, this will just be the show intro before the host comes on. And we're going to use this as our inspiration for the rest of the assets we create.
Nice. I like it. And this is right on brand with what we want, right? So as we all know, attention spans just get shorter and shorter these days. So it's only a couple seconds, but that's exactly what we want, right? We want
Yep.
a nice, quick, snappy, engaging intro. It's pretty, works with the Creative Cloud and Adobe Live branding. It's colorful. It's got all these design assets. So you guys knocked it out of the park. And I like
Yeah.
it. So that you said this is kind of the North Star for what the rest of the branding will look like, correct?
Yep. We're going to just use this initial design to guide all of the rest of our decisions today. So let's start with
Excellent.
the lower third. So new composition, rename it. For these assets, we're sticking with 1920 by 1080 and frame rate at 30. And 5 seconds will be plenty for a lower third to get designing. Okay. So looking at my notes real quick here. Yeah. Obviously, we just need to start with some text. So Command T, maybe we'll say Paco Seller and Colton Cooker.
That's
We'll create
us.
lower thirds for
Lower
today.
third.
Stick with the Adobe font.
Oh yeah, we already got some people in the chat saying this is captivating. So excited, looking very nice, and I agree. All this stuff is looking pretty dang cool.
Yeah, awesome. Glad we're digging. Okay, so I'm just center aligning everything. 50 pixels is probably big enough for lower third. Bold Adobe font. And then we're going to need, like a rectangle or some kind of background for this to pop off whatever image it's on. So let's create a rounded rectangle. If you hold shift and double click, it'll automatically create a square one for you. You can hit UU to bring up the properties.
Is it the shift and double click? Was that just to center it? Whatever shape you already had selected?
Yeah, so if you could regular double click and it would create just a normal
The
rectangle, which I
rectangle.
guess we could have
Okay.
done. I'm so used to holding shift. I don't even know
Yeah.
why. I guess just
Well,
to
I
make
just yeah,
squares.
that's a new shortcut for me. So when you shifted, did it just did the scale become even then? It was a square instead of a rectangle?
Yep, exactly. A
Oh, that's cool,
rectangle.
man. I don't think I knew that after all these years.
I think it's a little easier to start with the square because you need those so often.
Right.
Um, but yeah, actually, we do want a rectangle, so don't hold shift. Okay. Um, just centering it up with our text. Not going to link the size because we want it to be skinnier. And I'm constantly going to be hitting UU to just bring up the active properties. That's something I'll probably do subconsciously. So if you see the properties pop up, you'll know why.
Yeah, that's a great one. I think that's one of the first shortcuts you actually taught me when we used to work together is UU. It just I think it brings up the properties that you have selected, right? Like the current ones you're working with.
Yep. Anything
Yeah.
that's been adjusted. So that's really
Right.
helpful. Okay. Going back to our reference, we're using lots of gradients here. You can see even like this shape here has like a triple gradient, like 3 different colors. So let's stay with that theme. And to our rectangle path, we're going to add gradient fill.
Gradient fill.
Drop that down. We are going to edit the gradient. Okay, and
Cool.
before we pick our colors, I actually have some Adobe Live assets that McKenna has created.
Okay, I was gonna ask him like, you gonna eyeball these colors because I'd be very impressed, but
Yeah.
of course, I'm expecting. So this is very cool. So this is kind of I think once you start getting into professional motion graphic design and referencing to kind of have like this little brand kit.
Yep.
I assume McKenna probably built this out for you.
Yeah, she did. Um,
Yeah.
just to help keep us organized. And so you notice when I double clicked my file and my assets, it popped up over here. I think normally in After Effects, it would come up over here. But this isn't a very helpful place for when you're picking colors because you want to look
Right.
at the composition and see it changing. So I've brought that tab over to a different area.
Yeah, it's very easy or very useful to have that side by side instead of having to like have it over each other.
Yeah, I'm constantly messing around with the layout of After Effects. I highly recommend you keep playing around with it. Okay, so editing or gradient. So here's a huge tip for gradients. Pick colors that are next to each other in the rainbow. Um, if you pick colors that are opposite each other, they're gonna have to cross through this brown land. And
Brown land.
it's not as good. All right, so like
Oh wait, is it because the actual color kind of looks brown? Is
yeah,
that what you're saying in this
the color
specific
will
gray?
look brown.
That's hilarious. Avoid the brown land. It's like no man's land.
Yeah, no man's land. You can add another color to your gradient by just clicking down below here. Raising the eyedropper. Next gradient color. Okay, so see how I picked 3 colors that were next to each other? Went from yellow, orange to
Yeah.
red.
Okay. And you're kind of keeping it like within one radial area. You weren't like jumping across it. So that's good tip, man. I like that.
Yeah, let me just show you what I mean by the brown lands. Okay, if we went from yellow to uh blue, see this section in here? No good.
Mm-hmm. No good.
Want that. Okay, turn that back to
Yeah,
orange.
that looks more natural.
Hmm. Okay, now I'm just adjusting the in and out points of our gradient. So color 1, color 2, color 3. Cool. What's next? Okay, now this is pretty cool looking, but we're gonna want some extra texture, extra detail. Just centering this a little bit. So let's make a new shape layer. I'm gonna use my pen tool and start drawing some blobs. And these are just gonna create extra variation across our gradient. You'll see what I mean in a sec.
Okay. Texture's good. We like texture.
Okay. And we don't want stroke, we want fill. So on the same shape layer, we're going to create a few more. Pen G to bring up my pen tool again.
So curious to know what you're gonna do with this. I feel like when you really start getting into like motion design that looks good is you start to really implement design, like design that works. And I feel like texture is a big one, right? Like when you start adding, even like with compositing or just anything design related, I feel like textures really start separating like good looking design, even though it's subtle, but that's kind of what like gives it that amp up.
Yeah, it's all about the detail. And something I was going to mention for any like total beginner After Effects users out there, if you think your animations are looking really bad, a good chance is that it's just your designs look bad. Um, if you have like a friend that's a graphic designer, or you can take some designs from online somewhere and just start with like really good input, it'll be way easier to animate it and make it look good. Just something to try when you're still learning.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Okay, so now we need to change the colors of these. I just quickly got some random shapes going. Now we want to make them in our color palette.
Okay, that handy dandy little.
Wait, hold on. I was changing strokes.
Oh, what are you trying to target?
Trying to do the fills. I just kind
The
of did this
fills.
backwards. All right, we're adding fills to our shapes here. Multiple ways you can do this, but this is an easy way.
Yeah, so you're going up top, hitting that little fill button, and then doing the color picker, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Another way to do that would be click this add triangle and you can add fill
Yeah,
manually.
you would have to add the fill to each individual shape, right? Like there wouldn't be one that would cascade to all of them below. Well, no, I guess you don't want that because you want them to be separate colors.
Right. So you could take this out of the shape and it would cascade like you're saying.
I see.
Don't
Yeah.
want that today.
Nope. Different colors.
Okay, I just picked some. Referencing my notes to remember what I did here.
We have a cool comment, Colton. So Keys is saying, ever since I started watching these live streams, I've always wondered who made the intro graphics. This is kind of putting that question to rest.
Yeah.
Yours truly, right
Got
here,
it.
Avey Creative.
Yep. Okay, we're going to use a really cool effect here that you may not have used before.
Ooh, I like cool effects.
Effects and
Show me.
presets, rough and edges. McKenna and I use this all the time.
Okay.
And actually, before I do that, we are going to track mat it, which just means it's going to like auto mask. So I'm dragging the pickwick of the track mat to the main rectangle. So that automatically turns that layer off, but we want to turn it back on because we want to see both.
Oh.
Okay,
So
you
you
see
track
I'm
matted the shape.
masked.
Yeah. So the shape layer below, shape layer 2, that's the one that has all the blobs, right?
This one has the blobs. This is our main rectangle.
Got it. Okay. So then you just have to do one track mat because that shape layer has all the blobs in one layer.
Yep. And in previous versions of After Effects, it would matter which order these went in to track matte. But you don't
Yeah,
have to do that anymore, which is really cool.
I know. That's a big
Um,
one.
However, we do want the blob colors on top of the red gradient colors. So today it does matter, but for the track matte in the future, you don't need to worry about order layer, which is great.
Yep.
Okay, so we had our rough and edges effect. We're going to crank the border up to the 200s. This is, if you can see, it's like messing up the edges of these
Oh yeah,
blobs.
we're roughing them up.
Let's make them real rough. Okay, mid 200s. Sharpness. Right now they're a little faded, so we're gonna sharpen those up somewhere around there, and then bring the scale down so it's more of a grainy type of effect.
Wow, that effect kind of did it all right there. As it like turned into that like textured green. That was bringing the scale down, right?
Yep, the scale is huge.
Yeah, scale's
So it's kind of
huge.
got this spray paint textured grain effect that we use a lot at Adobe. Um, and then I sort of feel like I went a little crazy with the blobs. So let's try making them a little less.
That's so crazy. You're getting this design from one effect and just blobby shape layers.
Yep. I kind
Yeah,
of think it's
that's
cool
cool.
how right here there's like a hard edge, but then over here there's not. So I'm gonna
Yeah.
run with that. By the way, toggling the mask button right here, if you want to really focus on the masking corners, it's good to know about. Okay. This looks pretty cool. I mean, it's very rainbowy, but it's bright and fun. Let's see here. Okay. This is a little bit advanced, but the point here is that you don't have to make it too advanced. We're going to make a dynamic text box. So we're going to
Okay.
make this shape automatically grow with however long the text is.
This okay. I'm so excited to see how you do this because I'm usually on the receiving end of these assets, and I'm like, it dynamically changes to this crazy long title. So
Yeah,
this is big. This is big for delivery. So let's
this
hear
is
it.
cool stuff.
I'm here for it.
Moving my zoom box a little bit. Okay, I just centered the anchor point just with this plugin Motion 4. Tons of plugins can do this. I just
Yeah.
moved where the anchor point was. Okay. So we're going to use an expression to do this. And I used to be really afraid of expressions because it's code. But if you just like do a Google search for dynamic text box After Effects, you'll find tons of pages in YouTube tutorials that have this code, and you can just go and copy and paste it. And then you can just put it in like a Google Doc, like I've done here,
Mhm.
and then you just have it for the future. And you don't really have to totally understand what it's doing to be able to copy and paste and use it. Or you
That's
could
right.
take a whole class on how to use expressions and then master them.
Yeah.
But
But I could argue that's how you learn, you know. It's like when you're unlocking
yeah,
a language is you don't really understand it at first, but the more you start using it, the more you're like, "Oh, I understand what this property does." And I think it relays to like future things you're trying to learn.
yeah, yeah, totally. Okay, so I copy and pasted my dynamic size,
Okay.
or I copied, I haven't pasted yet. Okay, so we're going to come to our rectangle path, the size. We're going to option click the stopwatch that brings up expressions, and we're going to paste that expression. So now click on it to open this up. What we need to switch out is the comp or the layer it's referencing. So just highlight this temporary layer name, grab the pick whip again, and point it at our text. So now that automatically filled in this comp layer with our text layer. Now we can hit enter. So it worked, but it really squeezed it down to our
It
name.
really constrained it to the text. Yeah.
Yeah, so here's a trick that we can do to get that space back. We can add offset paths.
Ah,
Crank up the amount. And bam, we've got our padding again, which that's too much. Hold on. Okay, cool. And maybe we'll mess with the roundness because it kind of made it too pillbox. We just kind of wanted rounded corners. So right about there. Well,
Looks good.
maybe a little more space. Okay. So if we want some extra space on the width, we can come into that expression and under the width here, go plus, let's try 25. So it's going to say whatever it automatically widened it to plus 25. And I think that's looking pretty good.
Okay, so on top of the value you already entered, it's just increasing by 25 by doing that little expression, correct?
Yeah. It's like do the math and then add 25 extra.
And then add 25 to it. I like it. Looking at the chat real quick, we got some friends. We got Valdair joining. We got Oliver, Budaval, Jack Watson. Valdair said, Colton, I love the explainer video you made for Aries. The transitions are so amazing.
Oh, cool. Yeah, thanks.
Was that a client project you worked on?
Yeah.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah, cool AI company we did some work for.
Fun stuff.
Okay. Now let's animate in the text. This is the other important part. So now we're going to animate, and we're going to animate the position in. So I'm imagining all these letters coming in at random from the bottom. So let's go down to our position and take them out of the frame. And that way, we're going to use our ramp up. So it's funny trying to like say out loud what you're doing.
Yeah.
In After Effects. Like my brain just wants to go click on the things. Okay, so shape, ramp up, animate our offset. So like 1 second is probably plenty. We might even make it shorter. 1 second's a lot of time in animation.
Yeah.
Set a keyframe. So that's going to be 100%. Then go back to the beginning, negative 100. Oh, you know what I'm realizing right now we didn't do? I'm going to undo this. We also, in addition to the size being dynamically linked, we want the position to be dynamically linked.
The position of the text or the box, or I guess both?
The box. Yeah. So we did the size, and I'm going to go back to my Google Doc, grab my position. And it's the same idea here. Toggle this down so we can get our position property. Option click, paste the position. And it's saying there's an error because we need to replace the default layer with our text layer. Grabbing the pick whip. Bam. Hit enter. It pretty much worked, although it's no longer centered. So we can just adjust our anchor point a little bit till it's centered again. Okay. Now let's try it when we go back to our animation. Offset 100. Go earlier, negative 100. Oh, yeah. All right, it's moving with it.
I like it.
You see that?
Yeah, stuff's happening.
Okay, cool. So I think it would be cool if it was like a random, like the letters come up at random here. And ease high and ease low are the way they call ease in and ease out in the text box. So ease high is like the beginning of the animation and ease low is the end of the animation. It's a little abstract, but when you start messing around, you'll kind of get it.
It's a good way to put it. It's so like ease in and ease out almost.
Yeah. Okay, and this is just, yeah, way too long, like I guessed. And what makes text animation really cool is when you start stacking animations. So we have this first one, we're going to add a second. And it's going to be another position. Oops, wrong thing. And this time it's going to bring the animation or the text down. So it's like an overshoot.
Yeah.
So the first animation went too high, and then it's got to like fall down in a wave. Okay, advanced. Again, ramp up. That just means it goes from left to right. It's the easiest one to work with. Setting some keyframes. To be from -100 to +100. Oops, I set that at 0. Hitting U just once just brings up your keyframes. Okay, so we're going to offset these a little bit. Maybe add some easing on that one as well. I'm kind of doing these at random just for fun.
Yeah.
So the letters shoot up and then they fall down in a wave, which we didn't quite do enough. Let's make the position more.
It's the principles of animation, the bounce, offshoot. Yeah, it's those little things. It's what make a good looking animation.
Oh yeah.
It's kind of crazy you're doing all this in just like 3 layers, you know, just keep adding properties to one layer. And this works though, because if you were to have another lower third, or let's say you're making multiple instances of it, you could just copy and paste to it and all the properties are staying there. You don't have to like mess with layer timings and all that. They're all contained within one layer.
Right.
So that's a big one.
The more you can do in one layer, the better.
Yeah, agreed. It took me a while to realize that when I was dabbling in After Effects. It's more advanced, but it just makes life so much easier if you can contain it all.
Yeah. And I mean, I would probably sit here and like tweak these properties for a while. I think this is working good enough for right now. What I think is really cool is how this text box it's like too big at the top and then it shrinks down to size. Like I just love the dynamic text box.
Yeah.
It's good to work with the expressions. Okay.
And you really just copy and pasted one expression. The rest of them you're just kind of messing with like the After Effects panels, right? So it's not like you're doing any other crazy coding.
Yeah. It's just really not that much.
Yeah.
So I think this is something I've talked about before. We want to add what's called a motivator. So something that's
Yeah, the
in your
motivators.
eyes makes the animation feel like it has a reason for moving. Yeah, Paco's heard me talk about this before.
No, I mean, I remember we were first working together. You're like, animations need a motivator. That's just one of the things that stuck. It's like, you're right. I mean, what's motivating something to animate? And then, you know, I started learning more about it, and I took like a motion design class. That's like one of the first things they talked about. They're like, what's the motivator?
Yeah. It's like when you're talking to an actor, it's like, what's your motivation?
Where's your feel coming from?
So I'm just re-referencing this show intro just to kind of remember like what are the elements that were motivating this? And these little confetti dots, I think would be a good way to do it. So let's design a couple of those. Okay, so this would be a good instance of holding shift and double clicking the rounded rectangle tool because now we do want it to be a square.
Yeah, there it is.
So we're going to, create some confetti or I don't know, maybe it's like fireworks. It's July. Fireworks scaring our dogs.
I saw this like adorable TikTok reel where it's like, my dog loves fireworks, but twist, he's deaf. You know, so it's a deaf dog outside and its tail is wagging like crazy at the like explosions. And I'm like, that's kind of the perfect combo.
Yeah.
You know,
of
course, it's the sound that scare our furry friends, but that one had kind of the best of both worlds.
Yeah. Let's make like 3 of these. Kind of have the color kind of match lower third box. Some orange.
Nice, staying on brand. I like it.
These are just little details. Let's put some more. Oop. I just hit Command D to duplicate all those. Move them up to keep them organized. Then toss them over this area maybe. Recolor a couple. That red. Well, yeah, okay, orange. Okay. We are going to do another expression. And this time, again, I just have wiggle memorized. I think a lot of people do, but I added it here so you can see that it's another expression. You can just copy and paste. And we're
Yeah, and
gonna,
then it's wiggle, and the numbers are the x and the y values, right? So x
it's
is
the
what?
frequency and amount. So it'll
Oh
be like
wow, way
once per
off.
second, it's
Yeah,
going to change this value by 30
by 30. Yeah.
pixels. Yeah. So we open up the position and now, wait, which one did I do this to? The first one. All right. You see it dancing, just moving around.
Oh, it's dancing.
And additionally, to make these look like fireworks, we're going to animate the position, set a keyframe where it ends up. It's going to start like down, I don't know, here. We're going to hit G so that we can mess with the position path and make it rounded. So it's kind of covered up our box right now, but it'll make sense in a minute. All right, same thing here. Pasting the wiggle. Setting our animation. This is kind of the tedious part.
I mean, that's all design is, right?
Just tediousness.
You're seeing it live. This is what actually goes down. Of course, if you're watching YouTube videos, then they cut out all this excess fat, as we say. But yep, this is the real deal right here.
We'll do it live.
We'll do it live. I like how you animate from the composition window. I guess you could also do that with the handles and the curve editor, right? But it's just easier to kind of just do it on the composition window.
Yeah, I like just seeing it up here. I don't
Yeah.
see a lot of people use the path and pen tool, but it's a really easy way to do it.
It's cool. Yeah, no, I agree. That's just, I mean, the less mouse mileage you need to get to it, it's kind of cool. You can just do it right there.
Set in these positions also. Now I'm kind of doing this extra fast, but oh, come on, man.
Come on now.
Okay, I still need the wiggle on here. Don't worry, guys. I'm moving. I'm moving.
He's asking, will the sound effects for this also contain the single guitar string pluck? It's so funny when I hear it.
Hear what? A single guitar string?
Yeah, I guess like a sound effect that's a single guitar string plug, like boing. It's my
Point.
interpretation of it.
Oh yeah, that would fit well.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's another cool thing. So another cool effect is smear, which I talked about in the last live stream. This is just a free effect you can get. Just Google it. It's really just a preset to control the echo effect, but it makes it look nice. So,
Echo's trending. I'm seeing it a lot these days, I feel like.
so by selecting all these shape layers and double clicking, it applied it to all of them.
Nice.
I'm going to solo this so we can see them easier. Selecting our keyframes. Got too much open. And let's apply some easing. This is flow. I mean, there's a million plugins to like apply quick easing.
That's pretty cool.
Okay,
Here,
can you
play it
see?
back one more time. Yeah, I zoomed in a little bit. So here, go ahead and play it again.
Yeah, I'm going to try some different easing, or maybe cork. This way you can see when it's mid
There's the
motion.
echo. Yeah, that's cool. These little motivators.
Are also motivated.
So motivated.
Did it not apply my smear effect? Can't really tell. Oh yeah, it did. They're just too
It's
slow.
doing it. Yeah, yeah.
Cool. Turn off the solo. And then I think we should add like 3 more in the center for like a super firework effect. These will be the main motivation.
All right, the main motivators.
Okay.
Do you ever go in the graph editor to mess with the curves, or are you mainly doing it from this flow plugin?
I do go into the graph editor.
Just to fine tune things?
Yeah, it's just not coming up today yet.
Yeah, no. The only reason I'm asking is it's really interesting to watch like a pro do this because I mean I don't do motion design or animation anywhere as closer to the professional level that you do, but I feel like I go in there and it's just so tedious, to like mess with the graph editor for each asset. But that's why these plugins or presets exist, is because it's all about working smarter and not harder. So
Yeah.
it's just interesting to see how fast you work, and it's a lot from like these presets or like expressions or just things where you could just animate with one click. So I imagine when you're doing this day in day out for a bunch of clients, you just want to churn them out. I guess it's good to understand what the graph editor is doing, but obviously for efficiency, like that's where these plugins shine.
But guys, yeah, moving as fast as you can is great, and
It's
graph
a big
editor
one,
I
yeah.
think kind of slows me down, but okay. I'm messing with timing. It's funny
Yeah, I like
because
what those center ones are doing. Sorry, what were you gonna say?
it's just um I mean I came up with this concept last week and I think it looked a little bit better. So I'm trying to figure out what I did differently. Um let's go take a peek. Oh yeah, I scaled them. So that was part of it. Well, let's
Oh,
just
the
look
part
at
of
the
the
final third.
animation, you scaled them as they were coming in.
So you can see
Heck
this
yeah.
was the final product. It kind of has
Yeah,
like a fireworks, like confetti effect. A big thing to
that's
think
so
about when
cool.
you're doing lower thirds is you want it to catch the eye, but you don't want it to be distracting. Like the lower third is really just extra information, but it's not the main content with whatever someone's watching. So I think what I've said before is like you want it to be simple but alive.
Yeah,
So
that's a
just
great
a
way to
little
put
bit
it.
of dancing. You can see our textures moving.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it looks like, what did you do to animate that texture? Was it just kind of animating the blobs with some noise?
Yeah, wait, why isn't our texture animated? Let's take a look at that. I believe that should be in our evolution. Yeah. Okay, so what we could do is another expression. So you can set the expressions from your effect window also, and it'll automatically pop them up. We could do like time. Um, maybe I'll just do time times like 200.
Hmm.
Just every frame is going to multiply it by 200.
Oh,
Oh,
there it is.
it's barely working though.
Yeah, maybe the size of the blobs, they're like different to how you originally had them, but
Here
we
we
see it
go.
moving though.
Yeah, now it's moving. So it just had to be a higher amount.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I feel like today it just didn't turn out quite as well. But
No, but the idea is there, right? I mean, those were kind of the principles we were talking about, like the motivators, the little animation, the moving text. It's all there.
yep,
Yeah. No, that's
cool.
pretty cool, man.
So maybe we should move on to full frame transitions.
Let's do a full frame transition. And just a quick time check. We got about, what do we got? About 40-ish minutes. So we got some time.
Cool. Okay. So again, the thing with full frame transitions is it's shorter than you would think it's going to be. So let's create a new composition. And this is, I mean, let's just make it 2 seconds long total. So I can hit N to set my comp out point. Right click, trim comp to work area. That way we don't accidentally go too long, but we're probably going to try to keep it under 1 second. So that means about frame 15, the whole frame should be full. We're going to enable our transparency so we can see where the alpha channel is. And let's put in a couple, I don't know, assets just so we can get an idea of what it'd be transitioning between. I just grabbed a couple stock clips here that I had on hand. Skateboarding, yes.
Shredding in Paris.
And then rollerblade or roller skating. Yeah, these must have been 4K clips. Okay, so we're trying to transition from skating to roller skating. Cool.
What are we, Chad? Are we team skate or team rollerblading? It's like
Yeah,
teams.
I'd be curious.
Yeah, what are we thinking? I went through my skateboarding phase in my teenage years. I'm not gonna lie. So, did you pick one of these up, Colton?
I do both or have done both.
Ooh, fancy.
I was really bad at skateboarding though.
It was hard, man.
You get hurt so much. Okay.
You do.
So we're trying to think, you know, again, like when anything is possible, how do you decide what to do? And so I'm trying to think like, well, we could take some of these shapes. What if we use like the Adobe Live logo and do a logo transition? I think that would be fun.
That could be cool.
So grab the Adobe Live logo. Maybe we'll make it like that big. Let's steal like the square shape of the logo to use as our transition mat. So let's duplicate this, right click, create shapes from vector layer. That way we can steal this shape.
Oh, that's cool. So it just took the square then, it turned it into a solid colored vector. Oh, and the logo.
Yep. And I'm actually,
Nice.
we really only need that outside piece, so I'm just deleting the rest of it for now. So we're going to use that as our mask. We're going to need a solid to be the piece that actually covers everything. So this is an Adobe Live gray, 1B, 1B, 1F. I got that off of our color palette previously. And I keep hitting like option question mark. That brings your frame back to full frame. That's something I hit a lot subconsciously. Okay, so our blue solid is going to be track matted by our Adobe Live square. Let's call this like Adobe Live square. And it would be cool if it came from the outside of the frame. Oh wait, not scaling that, we're scaling the square. First, we're going to need to set the anchor point in the center so it comes from the center. Scaling
Nice.
to
It's a vector,
frame.
so it's going to be nice and crispy. Yeah.
Crispy, yep.
Infinitely scalable. I like it. Well, not infinitely, but close.
And we actually want it to be revealing. So the inverse of this. So we can use this button to set the inverse. This logo isn't going to pop on until it's completely covered. All right, see where we're going here?
Yeah, I do.
Let's set some easing, maybe not that much. Maybe this one.
That's so cool, man.
It's really important that you make sound effects with your mouth when you're animating.
You have to. Yeah, Keys. Keys, you got to make what did Keys want? He wanted the guitar string. Let me see if I can emulate it. All right, ready? Okay, yeah. Okay.
Ready?
Ready? Boing.
And we're gonna take that a
Boing.
step further. Let's make the logo look like it actually um boings. Okay. Where did okay. Oh, and this is actually, I don't know if you can see on the stream, but the logo's coming in a little bit soft. So we just need to click this button right here, continuously
That's to
rasterize. I'll make it.
rasterize it. Yeah. Yeah, good tip.
Okay, so as soon as it appears, we're going to set scale and we'll make it look like it kind of snapped back and forth for the guitar string boing.
The guitar plug, yeah. See, sounds are motivators too.
Yep. Sound design is really important.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so it snaps, it goes back, becomes a little bit bigger, a little bit smaller. Ease these a little bit, not a ton, maybe that much. Okay, let's see where we're at. Stoing.
Well, if I
Yep.
went to boing with a B and then with an S, stoing,
Stoing.
stoing. That's
Yeah.
good, man. It's working. I love how you could just see this logo and then come up with an animation that works very well in like, what was that, like 4 minutes?
Yeah, well, the whole idea here is just like steal the ideas that you already have going. So just take the shapes you already have, take the colors you already have. Like, don't try to think of something 100% original, like you're inspiring yourself.
Yeah, that's a great call out, man. I think where we're starting out and we want it to be, obviously we're not gonna make the best work as we're starting out, but you tend to go above and beyond, and sometimes less is more. So that's
Oh,
this
almost always.
yeah, like this is a great example of it. Like just by looking at it, it's like, okay, we got a square, okay, we got a simple shape, and we got a color that's working with our palette. Let's just do like a track matte inverse. Like that's good, man. I like it.
So we still need to transition back out to our next clip. So we can just literally reverse this, closes on that clip, opens on a new one, and now we just want our logo. So since we already have the scale animating of our logo to make our stoing,
Sting.
but we want it also to scale up to like zoom out of the place. Let's create a null so we can double up on the scale animation. So Shift, Option, Command, Y,
That's quite
shortcut.
a. What is that doing? Is that a null shortcut?
Yeah, it's a new null.
Shift Option Command Y. Didn't that make a layer? I could have sworn it was like a new layer, like Shift Command Option Y.
Command Y is new solid.
The solid. That's the one I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Okay. You had the Shift Option. You get the null.
Shift, Option, Command Y. Yeah, it's a lot. Okay.
That's funny.
So we're going to parent that null. So now we can double up on scale. So now I just have like constantly kind of growing as secondary animation. So it's stoing, but it's also getting bigger. And then once this starts to reveal the background, we'll have it zoom on out of here. Oops. And I'm guessing we'll also want a position keyframe because we're going to try to zoom through the middle of the logo. And yep, it's going to hit it. So we need to adjust the position as it goes. Scaling up, position down. And I think it'd be kind of cool if it sort of happened after the frame had been revealed. Let's get some easing. All right.
Nice.
This looks like
So it looks. Stoing.
Stoing. Cool. And then,
Uh,
we
that's good,
always
man.
we always need more details, more motivation. So why don't we
Right.
steal our little fireworks stuff that we already
Yeah,
did?
we worked so hard on them. Give it some cool schmear. The stoing and the schmear.
So I think when it stoings, it could like fireworks. We'll want that behind the logo. So here.
Well says I'm picking up what you're putting down, and I love it.
Nice.
Agreed. This is good stuff.
I'm going to use a null to move these into the right spot so I don't mess up their position keyframes.
Right.
Grabbing this
Big
null.
use case for nulls. Kind of keep everything constrained and then just attach to that without having to like move each one
Yeah.
single.
Always use a null.
Yeah. Nulls are friends.
All right.
Oh man,
Bam.
those little fireworks did so much. I love that.
Yeah. You always want
Yeah.
secondary details.
Secondary it's so small and subtle, but it does so much, you know?
Yeah. I mean, you want it to
Oh,
look
I
like
love
your
it.
animation is like affecting the world around it.
Yeah. And
So
it's the little
cool.
things I think what sets apart from like a lower third in animation that's like, okay, cool, but like, oh no, this is like production value, you know? Like this is pro status, just that little like detail. I think that did so much for it, even though it's so small. I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just really not that hard. You know what I mean? Like just simple stuff looks so cool.
Yeah. What could be a sound effect for the fireworks? We got stoing. Oh, that would be like bloop.
We need some sound effects, chat.
Yeah. What do you think, chat? I want you to type out what it would sound like. You know what's that called? Like onomatopoeia,
Yeah.
like buzz. Yeah. What would be the onomatopoeia of the little fireworks?
So I think one of the big takeaways that we kind of just mentioned is, try to like recycle the animations you've already made because we already had those made, but reusing them here, it feels totally different. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's making
100%.
everything cohesive. It's a good way to do it.
Yeah. And that's a big one. It's, we're working with like a package here. And like, I think cohesion's the big takeaway word here. It's like, it just all makes it look like it's all part of the same brand and
Yep.
part of the same world. So, ooh, okay, we got a good one. All right. So play it, and then I'm going to try and say what keys. Okay, goes. Ready? Here. Wait for it. Shloop. We got a shloop. And then we got another one. Pew pew. The classic pew.
And it is a good idea to actually throw the sound effects into After Effects here. And that way, when you render it and put it in Premiere, the sound effects already attached and you don't need to resync it. So that's
Does
something.
After Effects have a voiceover feature that I know one Premiere has one, but I don't know if After Effects has one.
I don't know if After Effects has a voiceover feature.
Okay.
It's
Because it would have been
not,
fun if we could do a VO and actually like hard bake these our awesome
yeah.
sound effects chat sourced. Maybe we got time afterwards we can do that in Premiere.
Yeah. We are at the end here going to talk about bringing things into Premiere if we have time. So we'll go over that.
Okay, cool. And just a time check, we got about, what are we working with? Maybe like 25-ish minutes, I'd say.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So we want to talk about backgrounds real quick, which maybe is not the most exciting of all of these, but it's still worth talking about. So rather than designing something new, we're going to look at something we already have designed. Okay, so you can see this is where this is a background, also called Mortis, or I don't even know how you pronounce it actually.
I always say Mortis. Some people might be like Mortis.
Mortis.
Okay.
Yeah. So like your live stream or whatever you need a background for might go in this middle box, and then the background elements we just want lightly animated in the background. And this is something I always struggle with because when you're animating, you want it to be all exciting, but actually you want these to be very subtle and not take away from the center content. So it needs to go a lot slower than you would imagine. I think 15 seconds is a pretty good loop length. See how it goes.
Right.
So we're going to talk about a couple more handy expressions you can copy and paste. So how about let's slider ball grain. Okay. These are well named.
Is that what you called it? Slider ball grain.
McKenna
Slider
named
ball
them.
1 grain 2.
I appreciate it though. Okay.
That's good. Yep, that's a
So
slider ball grain.
that's a slider ball grain. Let's bring the position over here, this would just be really basic, but want to show you some cool stuff.
Okay, I have a question. So when that asset moved, it looks like it was referencing kind of a full screen textured background. You see how it's kind of moving even though it's not animated. So what is it referencing to move? As like it almost like it's a cutout like with the background that's solid, but it looks like it's moving because of that. Where's that
Yeah,
texture coming from?
this is that same roughen edges effect that we
Oh, so
talked
it's
about
part of that.
earlier.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's gonna be affected by the position and time.
I see. I always
Uh,
wondered how you guys did that. I didn't know if you built like a 1920 by 1080 full like texture, and then it was almost like a cutout moving across that. But it's tied to an effect. I see now.
yeah. And you know what I
Yeah.
just realized? When earlier when I couldn't get that evolution to work is because I actually should have been doing the random seed. So
What were you doing
uh,
before the evolution?
yeah. So
Gotcha.
anybody that's still tuning in, that explains why that texture wasn't moving for us.
Right.
Okay. So we have our position going from left to right, and you could just sit here and like copy and paste it back and forth. So it keeps looping, but we're going to use an expression to
Or
automatically do that.
that's right. Are you gonna use the loop?
Loop, he knows.
Yeah, loop is great. That
All
was one
right.
of the hacks I learned where I'm like, wow, I don't have to manually like do in and outs and just you can just type that
Mhm.
expression in. Lifesaver.
So there's two main ones that I use all the time. It's just repeating the animation or ping pong, which is going back and forth. We're going to use ping pong for this first one because we want it to go left to right and then right to left. We want it to like mirror. So we're going to open up the expressions with the option click, paste that loop out ping pong. Error. What did I do wrong here?
Loop, yeah.
Loop out ping pong.
There it is.
Hmm. I don't, did I have something misspelled before? I didn't even
I don't know.
notice.
I didn't see it. Maybe one of the quotation marks was out. I know it can be finicky with something like that,
Yeah,
but
expressions are finicky.
yeah.
So like we mentioned earlier, we want this to be kind of moving slow and subtle. So we're making the keyframes longer, add a little bit of easing, maybe a lot. I don't know. It'd be cool. Let's see how that looks. I mean, it's not that fun. Too much
Yeah.
easing.
I think the easing is making it look like it's moving more than it probably is.
Yeah.
That extreme easing. This one looks better.
Yep. So that's kind of boring. But for these backgrounds, again, the eyes are supposed to be in the center here. This is just a vibe.
The vibe.
Let's try the other expression, which was the cycle. So maybe something that could be like rotating about this circle. Slider ball.
Slider ball 2.
All right, so I'm going to use Y to grab the anchor point, and wherever the anchor point is where it will rotate around. So rather than rotate right in a circle, which you wouldn't really notice, we're going to bring it down here, and now when we rotate, it'll go around that anchor point.
Yeah, that's cool.
Okay, so we're going to go back to those expressions we were copying, and this one's going to be the cycle. So rather than back and forth, it's just going to keep repeating the same animation.
Right, what you want to do, because it wants to be continuous. If it was ping pong, then it would stop and then reverse it. That'd be a little too distracting.
Right. So this should just be one cycle. Stopwatch, paste. Let's see if it. Oh, the same thing happened. I wonder. I don't know why
Why
the
does
copy
it
and
like?
paste isn't working, but we can always
I
type it.
know you have to type it out. Yeah, we got Gus Martin in the chat. What's up, Gus? Good to see you, man.
Yes.
Gus, man. All right, there it is. It's on steroids.
Kind of extreme. Yeah, let's make it go really slow.
There we go. That's working.
Now, something to think about here is our timeline is 15 seconds long. So we want all of our animations to be divisible by 15 so that when they get back to the beginning, they loop seamlessly. So 5, that would be 3 loops.
So you divided 15 by 5, so then you did 3. Right?
Yep. So let's just go to the end and make sure that once it cycles back to the beginning, it looks seamless. And it's behind. It's behind there, so we can't even tell.
That's good.
But we'll solo it just to make sure everyone gets the point. I keep moving my Zoom window. Okay.
So there it is.
Damn,
Yep.
seamless.
Pretty dang seamless.
Cool.
Nice.
All right, guys. Not a whole lot else to talk about with backgrounds. I think you get the point. Just keep it subtle, little details changing. Maybe you want to like attach all these elements to a null and just slightly scale them in and out. That's something I do a lot. Just do that real quick. This might go a little crazy, but.
So you got it to the null. And then, yeah, you just do like a small scale in and scale down, right? And then make sure it's seamless.
Yeah, we'll just go to like halfway through the animation and just see, that's a lot. Maybe just even like 4% bigger. Go back to the end, copy and paste, and then we're going to need to just nudge this over past the playhead because that amount should be the same as that one.
Right.
Does that make sense, Paco?
I think so, yeah. Yeah, so you have it right. Yeah, because it's ending where it's starting. So just a little past it.
Yep.
Oh, so subtle. So good.
So subtle. So good. Cool. Well, let's move on.
Let's move on.
Let's talk
We got
about
what do we got? 15 minutes? No, we got about 20 minutes left.
Okay. Let's talk about prepping some of these things for Premiere. So if we go back to our lower third, we can set up a MOGRT, also known as a motion yogurt.
Motion yogurt. I don't think I've heard that one.
Our mutual friend Dane called them motion yogurts.
Motion yogurt. Of course he does.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's another one that I feel like people have different tomato with. I say MOGRT too, but I've heard people say MOGRT.
MOGRT.
Yeah.
MOGRT.
MOGRT yogurt.
Motion graphics. That's funny. Okay. So we'll bring up our essential graphics panel. And this is really easy. All we need to do is just bring source text up into the essential graphics. And yeah, this is like the lower third names. This is what it's going to show in Premiere, like what you're editing.
Right,
and
with our yogurt.
Whatever you want to edit it to be. So yeah. Or actually this would be like names go here.
Nice. And it's all dynamic. Look at that.
I was here. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it did dynamically work, but
yeah.
Okay, lower third. And then we would just export it. Save. Browse into After Effects.
Look at that folder structure.
Motion
oh man,
yogurt.
So organized.
Stay organized, everybody. And all this is good. Just warning us that our fonts won't necessarily sync, but I have them, so it's all good.
Nice.
Taking his time a little bit.
All good. We got Agung joining us in the chat. Welcome, my friend. Good to see ya. We're here with Colton Cooker. He's showing us how to make some cool video motion graphics for your client. And now we are packaging up what we've just made, and we're going to show you how to put it in Premiere. So in case you deliver it and people don't know how to mess with After Effects, then they could just put them on Premiere and use MOGRTS, aka motion yogurts, to easily digest them.
Awesome. Okay, so now we need to grab our transition, prep that for Premiere. So we'll turn off the layers that we were just using.
Yeah, the video ones, we don't need that.
We see our checkerboard. That means their alpha layer is back there. Perfect. And Command Shift question mark sends it to our render queue. You could also send it to Media Encoder. I make a new render folder. Call that transition. And then we're going to set this as a ProRes with alpha. I have this pre-created. If you don't have that, click on this. Just make sure that in the channels, there's an alpha selected.
Yeah, that's a big one. Otherwise, it's not going to have that see-through transparency. So make sure it's got alpha.
Yep. Exactly. Okay, the rest should be good. You can hit render.
Nice, nice. Well, Gus is asking if we needed some more rollerblading B-roll. Ah, so fitting. Gus is actually a professional rollerblader.
Really?
Yeah, I think he was sponsored back in the day too. Correct me if I'm wrong, Gus, but yeah, Skate Gus, I believe. So follow Gus at skate.gus, I believe. He's still crushing the rollerblades.
I will definitely be following you. I think rollerblading is awesome. Been trying to bring
still
it back.
Keeping it alive. I love it. He's brought it back, man, in his community and yeah, in general. It's been back.
Okay, so I opened up Premiere here, and I already had our roller skaters in here. I know this is the 2x2 Gus, so I don't know what kind of you did, but
I know he does inline, but I never know. Do you think it's easier or harder to skate 2x2 or inline?
I think 2x2 is like harder to balance forwards and backwards, and inline is harder left to right. Is what I've heard.
Yeah,
I don't know for sure.
Yeah, I've done the 2x2s, just like, you know, in San Francisco, they have this place called Church of Eight Wheels where everybody goes and like rollerblades around, kind of like the middle school days when we all used to do that. But it wasn't as easy as I remember, you know. Maybe I'm just getting older, but a lot of people were falling.
That sounds really fun though. Okay, let's so now we're in a Premiere. We're gonna go to Essential Graphics panel, and we need to install the motion yogurt we made. So finding that in our Finder.
That's not gonna get old.
And so
what did you do? Just so people know, how did you import that? Did you click something, or what did you?
Yeah, it's this button right here. Install motion graphics template, and this is in the Essential Graphics panel.
Yeah, there it is, kind of in the bottom right, that little icon in that window.
So it's
click that.
Yeah, a little confusing because you know you're tempted to bring your MOGRT into your bin, but really what you need to do is install it.
Yeah, you got to click that little button.
Yep.
Good call out, my friend.
So we have it in there, and we also need to make sure we import the transition that we grabbed. So that was in my render folder. And this one you can't just drag into the bin.
Right. So that's not a MOGRT. That's just a render transition with alpha channel. So could just use as is.
So what you could do is scroll through this to the point that it's completely covered, and you could hit M. That'll make this little marker. And that way when you're moving it around, you know that that marker is where you want the transition, the cut to be.
Yeah, that's very smart. I've always just eyeballed it without visually being able to know what it is on the timeline. It's such a simple hack, but yeah, that's a great call out, man. Because it's a long video file, but you want to know what you said where the cut is. So yeah, that's great hack.
So I like to add that. And then you can see the cut right here. And like sometimes, you know, you have your snapping on and it'll snap to it. If you don't, you can hold Command and arrow over just frame by frame until that marker is lined up with the cut. All right, let's see if it worked.
Boom.
What was it?
Stoing. Bloop. 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 Stoing.
All right, we got it. Let's make sure our, I can't even not say motion yogurt now.
I so kind of have to stick with that.
All right, we can
Motion
drag it
yogurt.
down.
Oh. There it is. Did that have an alpha channel with it?
I don't, yeah, we actually had a gray background on this one, so we'd have to go back to Premiere,
Yeah,
or I mean to
all
After
good.
Effects and just quickly explain that you need to turn off the background layer.
Hit transparency. There we go. Now I'll go over any video we got.
We'd have to just resave it, but let's just make sure this is working. So, um, motion yogurts are the way with,
This is the way.
I guess.
Motion
I'm
yogurts
real.
are the way.
So now I'm realizing here that we did not dynamically link our confetti to go over. So that's something that I'd go back and do later. But the cool thing is that the text box shrunk to the right size. Several things need to be adjusted, but at least it worked in Premiere. That's all we can ask for right now.
So you just needed to include that property to the motion yogurt. I just like it. Like, I can't not say that anymore.
I know it's stuck. Yeah. What we probably should do is go back to the motion yogurt, make 2 text lines. That way we can edit them. Make this like a subtext for text hierarchy. We would want to center it so that it's not going to left justified. We'd want to move these confetti pieces over. So several things to do next time.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, how much time we got?
We got about 12 minutes, so we might be able to show one more thing if you have something queued up. If you don't, I was thinking it might be cool to try and think of another quick, cool transition we can do.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Couple things we can talk about.
Yeah.
One thing I like bringing up that I don't see beginner motion designers do very often is full frame hard cuts. So take a look at this show intro again. It's gonna need to render real quick. Okay, notice how the first 20 frames, there's like 4 different background colors, and they're not fading, hard cutting. And each time it hard cuts, it motivates the animation to move.
Okay, yeah, wait. Okay, so
you see that?
When it does a hard cut, is the scene changing with the animation or it's all part of the same one? I guess it's so that one, let's see. So, yeah, okay. So the color change adds the new element. I see.
Yep. So we're just making a new layer. It's just a hard cut. You can see right here, it's just a full frame shape. And then by that color changing, we're introducing new shape elements without making them zoom in from off screen from the left or right or something.
Or like have them you see how they evolve. It's just a hard cut into the element, which works. It works very well.
Yeah. And I think it makes it look like a beginner animation when you have like your circle over here and it zooms in from the left off the frame. That's just like such a easy way to introduce something. So when you can think outside the box, and it can be as simple as just appearing on the frame, but then you're like, okay, how do we motivate it to appear on the frame? Well, we can change the color of the background. That's just one way to do it.
That's a great call out, man. Let me see what happens here. Go back to the second hard cut. Yeah, the second to the third cut. Let's see. Oh, so that the circle is revealing. It's revealed. Okay.
So this cut is just kind of motivating these shapes to fly off. And I know I just said it's lame to have them fly off the screen. But what I thought was cool here is they fly off and come back.
Check it out. Ping pong.
So it's just all these tiny little, really simple animations. Like nothing here is hard at all. Really, that's
great. It's
background color changing.
Yeah, and it's kind of the theme that we've been talking about. It's simple, but I mean, it does a lot, right? Like less is more. It's not overly complicated. I mean, within those first 2 seconds that's animating, it looks great, and it's just these little simple things, but all these little simple things added together make this very cool design.
Yeah, and you'll see we just copy and paste these, I guess, fireworks or whatever. Copy
Hmm.
and pasted those to re-motivate the text to come in here, but you don't even notice that it's like a repeated animation because there's so much going on.
Yeah.
Then you see it again over here and over here. They're just like ways to reuse and recycle your elements so you don't have to animate as much.
Yeah, and they're offset too. I mean, I think if you had them come in at the same time, be like, wait, those are the same ones, but the way that they're offset, coming one after the other, really sells it. And you rotated it too. Again, it's the little things, you know?
Yeah, simple changes.
Simple changes.
Okay, so talking about another transition, there's another tip I have.
Let's see it. Yeah, we got about a little under 10 minutes, so a
Cool.
little bit of time to knock something out.
Yeah, this is a really simple concept. Um, Actually, I'm gonna duplicate our other transition so I can steal those skater clips. Cool. Okay, we're gonna transition between these again. So, what if we use like, I don't know, a star this time? I don't use a star too often, but today we're going to. Um, okay, so if we use the star scaling up to fill the frame, keyframes. Okay, the star comes in, fills the frame. So oftentimes when you're working on transition, you're like, okay, I just cleared away one frame, but how do I reintroduce the next frame? And a really easy way to do that is just simply duplicate that star, drag it over so it's going to animate again, but this time it's going to reveal the layer below it. So we are track matting the layer below it to the new shape and inversing it. Okay, do you see what
Ah,
happened there?
I think so. Yeah, okay. So it
Push star
was,
in to fill it, and then you reuse that same animation, that same layer, just duplicate it, offset it, and that's the new track reveal.
got it. And then you inverted the new star, right?
Yep, and invert it
Yeah, okay.
through track matte inversion. So I think that's just a really easy go-to when you can't think of how to exit your transition.
Yeah.
So maybe we can put something more interesting in there, like steal these guys again.
Yes, our little fireworks.
And maybe it can be, I don't know if it's going to work or not. We're just messing around at this point. These animate out. Just moving them.
Just moving them off screen. And you already have keyframes on them, so the new changes are being baked into that keyframe, which is nice. Yeah, almost there. Looks like, yeah, okay. That's one way to do it. Just cut them out.
Yep. And I'm also going to set this so that they get track matted away from the star. Um, Set that to this star and then
Ah,
invert again. So now this can be dragged out. Okay.
Yeah.
Is this cool? I don't know.
No, it's good. I mean, it's got the design elements that we were talking about. Because yeah, it's funny how they get brought out by the new star.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, this isn't that cool, but I think the concept is really cool.
Yeah.
So you're using a shape to mask out the previous video. Something happens inside this to dazzle the eyes, and then that same layer shape animation reveals the new
Yeah.
video and gets rid of your designs. Cool.
Very cool. I like it. All right, we got about 5 minutes left. I almost think we gotta record those sound effects onto Premiere. What do you think?
Yeah. You want to record like voice sound effects?
I think yeah, probably just do the voice recording feature. You might have to do both. I don't know how I can put my voice into Premiere. That's gonna be a audio routing mess that I don't think we can figure it out in the next 4 minutes. But yeah, I think we just try and bake it in. Let us know, chat. What should we do? Should we go? I know we suggested the stoing and the schnoop for the fireworks, but let us know if there's another sound effect that we want for the fade in and then the little fireworks popping out.
Yeah, maybe I'll quickly just show Boombox, which I think I've shown before. This is a plugin that my cousin
Ooh, I
makes,
don't think I know this one.
keeping
Yeah,
in
no, tell
family
us.
even more. This is really cool. It's for sound effects inside After Effects and Premiere. So you can just search for anything. So maybe we could try boing.
Okay. We might not be able to hear it unless you
Oh, you
share
can't
your
hear.
sound. Well, you can if you can access your audio controls on Zoom, if you go to audio settings, I think there's an option to just share sound. If not, then we just cut away real quick and I can show you how to do it. Do you see
I'm
the
not
share
sure.
sound option?
I don't see it.
Okay, here, let me do this real quick. I'm going to show you how to turn it on. So hang tight, everybody. We're going to be back in like 10 seconds. Hang tight. And one. Okay, cool. That was quick and easy. So let's see. There it is.
You can hear that?
Yeah. Doing.
Okay. So in
Keys.
Boombox,
I feel like this is the
boing.
sound you were talking about, Keys.
Yeah. So what's really cool about Boombox is it automatically finds the transient. So that's like the spot where you'd want the action to happen. So we can use our marker that we already made, align the playhead with that marker, and just hit this plus. It automatically adds it to the timeline.
That's cool.
This one, the transient just happened to be the very beginning of the file, so it
Yeah.
didn't really matter, but let's see how this is working. Oh yeah. Okay. But then I think we need
That's
to kind of
great.
like whip to get into it, or like a little extra swish.
Oh, that's so good. Like he said, it's not, it's better.
It's way better.
Sounds like a shriek. Yeah, we're all brand here.
Just adding some extra swishes. I just did a quick search for whip type sounds. Awesome.
All right.
I mean, I'm really happy with it.
That works, man. That works great. Let's see if we can. What could we add to the lower third real quick? Maybe that's the last thing we can do. What do you think will be a good
Yeah,
sound
so it was
effect for
kind
that
of
one?
like a
Yogurt.
yogurt. Or firework.
What's that?
Boom.
Explosive. Oh my goodness, that is.
I don't know. It's a break now.
I think you got to do the break.
Yeah, it's not exactly right, but
Yeah, client will love
outside
that
the
for
box.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, outside the box. Right on. All right, everybody. Well, thank you so much for joining us. That was a lot of fun. Colton, nailed it as always, my friend. Tons of learnings here and great visual motion design, man. Always a pleasure having you.
Yeah, thanks for having me, everybody. It's really cool. Good luck in After Effects and motion design. Keep it simple, learn just enough to be dangerous, and try a bunch of crazy stuff.
It's a great takeaway. Learn enough to be dangerous and keep it simple. That's how tackle your next motion design project like that. All right, buddy, stick around, don't go anywhere because we got the motion spotlight next with Josh Quillen and James Bonanno. So find out how he's become a video producer guru and how he has all these editing hacks and his roadmap to be where he is today. He's working on a lot of cool projects. He's got an IMDb page, so don't go anywhere. Stick around, everybody. We're gonna be back in about 5 minutes. All right, everybody. See you on the next one.
Yeah.